Hi guys, welcome back to Nail on Sunday podcast with me, Chris, and my beautiful wife and co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello. And I didn't say anything.
I would really have liked it if we could have actually started with some music at the beginning, then we could have come into some music.
Or we could have. The thing is, when we did the whole podcast last week that you guys would listen to and you probably voted on, we don't know the results because we're time hopping here.
We are time hopping. But we have come up with some new jingle options.
No, I'm just going to preface this, right?
Right.
When Chris wrote the jingles for Rebecca, Rebecca decided that she can do better. So we're going to have two jingles that we're going to play to you guys.
Right. I don't enjoy the lyrics for these, but the tune of one of these is everything. The lyrics to another one is better, but yeah, I don't know how to change the lyrics and keep the tune because I really love the tune.
Okay. So, play a couple?
Sure.
Like 10 seconds, see what these guys think?
Yeah, 10 seconds is probably a bit long, probably like 5. Right, so this is our Justin Bieber version.
Yeah, it's Sunday, trying to get it done with tall nails, business having fun, from the polish to the trend.
Cute,
here we
right?
go. It's Nail on Sunday, let's.
I like it. It's cute, but it's not us. Oh yeah, this is the one. Love this.
Yeah. Manicures, hair to polish so lit, nail game strong, tips so legit.
Love this. I love it.
Rebecca's a country G.
But the lyrics just are not right.
Sunday, keeping it tight, buffing that shine, glowing in light, top coat magic, out of sight. Nail file singing every Sunday.
I don't love it.
It's so good.
I don't love it.
Oh my god, I would actually listen to that in the car.
Okay.
I would.
Oh, talking about cars. Huh. We went and got a car back this
Yeah, we
morning.
did. It's only been 4 months.
4 months we've been without a car.
Wait, is it more than 4 months? No, it's 4 months.
I'll tell you something. So luckily we had a courtesy car, but it was a big old rattly diesel. It's so nice to go back driving an electric car.
Mm-hmm.
So nice. And I don't want to go back to my van now because both is a manual and a rattly old diesel. So maybe we have to, I don't know, have some sponsorship on here so we can buy Chris a new van. Also,
hey, you've got a new... Oh, can't even say it. That's fine.
oh,
I
you can't
nearly
say
said
it.
it. I nearly
You
said it.
can't say that.
Nope.
You can't say it. I'm just going to let everyone know that my screen has gone blank here. The mouse, the cursor is clicking about, but I cannot see anything. There is no recording things up. Thankfully, I've got back up my roadcaster, so hopefully everything's going to go. We're just going to go for this.
I don't know. No, I'm nervous.
What's the worst that can happen?
So it's definitely recording on there.
Yep. So today we are going to talk about competition. We're going to talk about competition in personal life. More importantly,
I mean, what competition do you have in your personal life? Who do you have competition with in your personal life?
you and I have competition all the time.
It doesn't really count.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Whatever. See, competition right there. Apparently it doesn't count. And that's competition. Also, mostly, I think competition really is, I would say, professional life more so than anything else, and especially if you're a business owner or a brand owner or something like that. Something like that, especially if you're like running through the ranks of a business.
We're also going to cover imitation versus inspiration as well, because there's a fine line to be tread there. So we should get started with competition. I want to paint a picture. Imagine you have been a nail technician or a beauty therapist in the town that you live in for 5 years. Imagine you got like a little high street salon. Imagine that.
Are you speaking from experience here?
No, I'm just painting a picture.
Okay, paint a picture.
And
On you
then
go, Bob Ross.
there's no salons like directly around and about you, or the ones that are that offer very different things. And then all of a sudden, 5 doors down, Jean comes along, opens up a salon. She's got the best, the brightest, and the newest of everything. And you suddenly feel panicked that all your customers are going to leave and go to her.
I'm just about to trauma dump on you guys. Like, this has happened to me before. But Jesus Christ.
Yep. So what do you do? What do you do? Now, you could let 2 things happen here. You could let the green-eyed monster get the better of you, and when your clients come in, you start going, "Oh, see that Jean down the road? I don't like the colour that she's chosen for her walls," and you can be all bitter and stuff
Bitter
like
is
that.
a good one. Bitter is a good one.
Or you can use the competition to elevate your game.
The reason Rebecca's gone to that story, I think you're talking about, down the road.
Well,
Right. So, if you guys don't know, Rebecca and I used to own a salon, which we've spoken about loads before. But a shop became available a couple of doors down from our salon. And Rebecca and I just thought, we'll just go have a look, just to see if we can maybe move the salon. And today it was slightly bigger. We thought it was slightly bigger. Turned out it was not. 800 square feet. But there was like a room dedicated in the back to do nothing. And we just thought to ourselves, that would be great for a little hair salon.
It was
So
like
I
a
went-
glass box.
So imagine we have a beauty salon that does nails, lashes, waxing, tinting, tan, all that sort of stuff. Surely hair would be the next possible thing. We didn't know anything about hair at the time. But what we're going to do with all the rest of that, like 650 square feet? Well, girls need outfits. So we decided to open what we called the Glamour Boutique at the time. And it was half a boutique and half a hair salon,
Yeah.
which kind of made sense.
It didn't, you didn't have like hair flying around the clothes, do not, because as Chris said, the hair was in a separate sort of glass fronted room.
Yeah, where people could look at you
Yeah.
in a weird way.
But yeah, so then we had everything. We had the salon, we had the hair, we had the clothes.
Yeah, and we had that for, in total, like 8 years.
The clothes, I think there was maybe like 6 years.
6 years.
God, it really was it that long that we had clothes for?
We got rid of the hair after a couple of years because what we realised is hair caused us more problems because we weren't hairdressers.
Exactly. So we couldn't. We would do our best. You went and did like a course on barbering and stuff like that, but it really didn't help at all. And you did hair extensions course and things like that, so that we as owners of beauty industry businesses, we always try to educate ourselves as much as possible. So if we weren't qualified in something, we would go and get qualified. Not to necessarily practice it, but just to be able to help out where we could, or have an understanding, especially if there was problems and things like that.
Yeah. Think of a busy Saturday. I'd be mixing colour in the background, bleach in the background.
Do you remember when you did that hair extension course?
Yes.
And the guy was off his face.
Yeah, it was after Tina Park. Tina Park used to be like a big festival here in Glasgow, and the guy came.
No, it wasn't in Glasgow. Tina Park.
Perth. And he came after doing an all-nighter there, and he was out of his face. And he was trying to like hold a soldering iron, the heat gun up to be able to do these bonds. And he was holding it for so long while his face was like melting. He actually melted the hair strands onto the Sally doll and like off the Sally doll, and it just like fell apart. It was funny. Anyway, the reason I'm getting onto that is we had that comfortably. There was nothing really around about us.
In Paisley, I don't think there was any. In fact, there wasn't any clothing boutiques for women at all.
That kind of unique clothing boutique. What you would probably get in those days was Pretty Little Thing, very kind of similar to that.
But yeah, you had your high street stores like New Look and stuff like that, but you did not have like, in our area anyway, you didn't have any independents.
Quite fast fashion. And all of a sudden, so the landlord owns a whole entire street, and the landlord, we seen him walking by one day, we're like, what is this going on a couple of doors down?
It was literally 3 doors down.
And it was a corner shop, so it was slightly bigger than ours and
big
slightly
windows,
prettier and stuff. And he said, oh, it's a clothing store, a women's clothing store, but don't worry, they don't do the same things you do. They just do bikinis and underwear. And I was like, oh, right, okay, well, bikinis and underwear, that could draw a crowd. Turns out they were going to do the exact same thing, and they just told the landlord about doing bikinis and underwear. And he's like, I don't care, you know?
The landlords, all the landlords we've ever had, I say all, pretty much like 2, they are always like quite good in terms of they don't want the same things over and over because they worry that it would like push one person out.
Yeah.
So they do try to like keep it quite diverse in terms of the types of businesses that they do have.
And I remember when that opened, flipping heck, their sign was newer, so it was better. You know, it was bigger windows, so you could see more. The clothes were more glamorous. But one thing that really, like, I can remember the guy who had the shop next door to us said, don't worry, mate, competition is good for you. It makes you hungrier. It makes you want it more.
And I think at the time we were like, no, we were just feeling a little bit like we were just looking for the negative in them the whole entire time.
I'll be honest with you. That was one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Absolutely. Every single time. And I think we'll talk about this in depth probably a little bit later, or maybe we should just talk about it now. Competition has always made us better. Okay, here's how I will describe how our competition journey tends to go. We get a little bit nippy
Jaded.
to begin with, right? A little bit green-eyed monster because we're human, and a little bit bitter. But then we go, right, no, enough of that. We shake ourselves out of it. And then we realize that we can use the competition to push our business forward. And that's where competition can be so healthy. And I think if you apply that to being an individual nail tech, nail tech down the road or even a nail tech within the same studio can be competition, but they can also be an ally, a friend, support, and they can help you elevate yourself, because you might see something that they're doing and think, oh, I wish I was doing that, or I wish I could do that. That inspires you to go on a training course, or to upskill, or to change your brands, introduce a new treatment, whatever it is. So it can absolutely be something for the good, but you need to make sure that you don't let the green-eyed monster and the bitterness eat you alive.
Yeah, turn that green-eyed monster into like a hungry person to go after it. When that girl moved in with her boutique and everything else, her clothes were more glamorous. One thing we thought to ourselves is, how can we improve on what our offering? So we got more clothes, more variety, reduced the price ever so slightly because we're in a less affluent area. And what we found is, lots of people would go into our store, but they couldn't afford the stuff. Or they could afford it, but they didn't want to spend that amount of money. They would come to us and they'd buy 2 and 3 outfits.
We also realised as well, the whole glam thing, people just weren't buying glam clothes anymore. That was kind of done, wasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, we changed our offering. We actually got rid of hair because clothes became so huge. We went online. It blew up. Actually, we had a great run of it. You know, we decided to close for personal reasons,
but also it was like leading into COVID. It was just generally the demise of retail.
Yeah.
Because of massive online retailers, you just can't compete with.
Yeah. But one thing that sticks with us, that when competition is there, use it to your advantage. And we want to talk about that more today, about some of the competition that we have now as a brand. But let's focus right now on nail techs. So you were just talking about nail techs within studios and within, say you've got a gene down the road. What sort of problems might you see? What is the main competition from another nail tech in your local area?
It can be pricing. But then if they're not at the same level of you, if they're not at the same level as you in terms of the quality of the work that they're offering, then that is, let's just make it the word of our podcast, a moot point. But yeah, pricing can be a thing, especially if you are in a slightly more deprived area where price is really a lot more important to people. They will be looking for, a cheaper treatment. I think it's also important to point out that where a business can offer the same things as you doesn't necessarily mean that it's a competition for you. As an example, a client who uses a non-standard salon is not the same type of client as you are going to have as an independent nail tech, more often than not. The type of person who is going to a non-standard salon is either not having their nails done that often, so they don't maybe know that there's other options, or they are very, very last minute and they just decide on a whim that they want it done. The type of client that you're going to have as an independent nail tech, more often than not, is going to be somebody who's going to book in with you every 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to be a regular thing, and you're going to build up a relationship. When you go to a non-standard salon, you tend not to build up a relationship with the people doing your nails because it tends not to be the same person over and over again. They have quite a high turnover of staff.
We used to have or be part of a non-standard salon.
We did. Well, we rented a space from them for our very first business.
And one thing I always noticed is that the guy who would do the acrylic really spoke to the clients quite a lot and would just wear AirPods.
Yep.
So that's what you go into, and I see it if you walk by.
And it was a bit of a conveyor belt, so you often weren't getting treatment from start to finish by one nail technician. You'd maybe get your prep by one, you'd get the acrylic on by another, you might get it refined by another, and then painted by somebody else.
Yeah, a lot of people with different skill sets and were at different levels in their training.
Yeah. So it is, again, they're offering the same thing as you, but they're not your competition because it's a completely different client base that's going to go there. It's the same for us as well.
One thing I used to hate about walking by non-standard salons, and a lot of people attest to this, they can look super busy.
They can be, yeah, they can.
And that, if you own a salon, you're thinking to yourself, I'm having a rough day.
It can be a little bit demoralizing for sure.
But one thing you find with a non-standard salon quite often is one person will go in to get a treatment, but they'll bring their entourage with them.
Yes.
And that can make it look super busy.
Yeah.
Whereas like in our salon, we wouldn't encourage people to bring friends, or especially kids. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if you walk by and you see like 5 people waiting, that could just be like the mom and the 3 kids.
Yeah.
That's 4 people. Sorry. Quick math.
So yeah, got to think about things like that in terms of competition. Who is your competition? Because it isn't everybody offering the same treatments as you.
Yeah. So say for instance, you work in a co-working space, which a lot of our like close nail techs do, that we have a relationship with. Do you think you're competition with each other, or do you think that really you should be allies?
Both. I mean, technically you are each other's competition, but you should also be each other's allies. And whilst you are each other's competition, you can still absolutely support each other. So, somebody's having a bad day, they've had a bad experience with a client, you can use each other to bounce that off of. But not only that, maybe one of you is really busy at one point compared to the other. You can, gift essentially, offload some of your clients to the person who isn't busy. And it's going to be swings and roundabouts. And if you have that, that sort of relationship where you both treat each other with that sort of respect, where one of you's busier, one of you's quieter, and then the other person, recommends some clients over, then, that's just going to benefit both of you, isn't it?
Yeah. I think also something we spoke about in the last pod with Black Friday, like that's, if you work in a co-working space with nail techs and you're quite close to them, being an ally is great because you can like bulk buy things and stuff like that. You can maybe like look at, maybe moving into a space where you're sharing rent and stuff. I think that is the aspect of it. You can still be competition, but you still have that backup of each other.
Yeah.
So let's go for instance, our salon. We had a big salon, 13, 14 girls.
I think it was like 11.
Within there, do you think they had competition? Did you see competition?
Yeah, I guess there was competition. So they were employed, they weren't self-employed, but you definitely would see competition. You would see some funny types of competition actually. So you'd see people go, oh well, why do they have all the bookings? Because often, more bookings, even though they were employed, would mean more tips. But then you'd have it the other way around as well. Because they were employed, so they weren't paid per client, you'd have people going,
Why
she's got all that free time. You're like, well, so no, definitely they would be competition between each other as well. Also, if somebody would notice somebody else's work getting featured more on the page, maybe because they were just doing, obviously, if you have like 11 people, or however many people doing nails a day, you can't feature every single set on the grid every day. You're going to pick the best one. Or
if you're doing one grid post a day.
Yeah. Or even if you're doing like 2 grid posts a day or 3, you're only going to pick the best 3. But there might have been like 50 sets of nails done in the salon that day. So that was something as well. But you've got to pick the best set of nails, but also trying to keep in mind, like trying to share it out.
Yeah. Rebecca and I come from a salesy background. This is how we actually met. And competition was fierce within the industry.
If you weren't competitive, you weren't going to last. Absolutely.
And the thing is, we were all relatively friendly within the place. There was a couple of people who didn't like each other. A couple of people definitely didn't like me. But you would still go for a beer afterwards. After work, you would still hang out at the weekend. We actually became like a crazy incestuous family.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like, oh, you still may sale like after work. It would just be forgotten about.
Yeah, you owe me a sale, and that's the end of it. That's the way it used to be.
This is also something I really, really want to point out, right? This whole you owe me, you stole my sale, you stole my customer, you stole my client. They were never yours to begin with. Customers and clients do not belong to people. And I want to talk about this when it comes to brands and when it comes to clients, right? They aren't yours. And we've all, myself included, I have said the words, right? We've all been guilty of saying it, but they are not yours. These people, customers, clients, they have choice and they are absolutely allowed to try out something new, the same way that you as a nail tech are allowed to try out new brands. But then brands also have the thing where they're like, that's our customer. They don't belong to you. They don't belong to anybody. And the whole poaching thing as well, which is really rife within brands. And it's funny because nail techs probably don't see it as much. Nail techs will see it in what they're working in. So they'll see it between nail techs. We see it between brands.
So so you're thinking that if you're in a salon and say, for instance, I don't know, Beth goes on holiday and all of a sudden...
I'm not even like that. I'm thinking like more sneaky tactics, right? So imagine like you've got a client who comes to you every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. But then let's say Beth, seeing that's the name you just come up with, slides into your customer's DMs and says, oh, I'm doing an offer. Would you like to take advantage of it?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay, that's underhanded.
It's underhanded, but the client didn't belong to you. Yeah. But does it mean it's morally right? No. Is it gross? Yes. The same thing happens in the nail industry in terms of brands. We actually talked about this a little while ago in terms of gifting, and brands are using gifting to try and poach, for want of a better word, customers. We at Nail Order always promote the use of multiple brands within your space. So sometimes we're probably our own worst enemy with saying that, in terms of, we can't say that and then in the same breath be pissed off when a brand, does try to swoop in, because we're like, that's what we're trying to encourage, is multiple brand usage. But yeah, it is a really big thing in the nail industry, and in terms of brands. It's really gross. I've seen a few things recently. I'm like, that's just gross. It's like, what was one thing I saw? This was a couple of months ago, and it was on TikTok, and I can't remember the context of the video. It might have been, it was something to do with somebody. They were using a product, and I don't think they weren't not liking it. I think they were liking it. But then another brand popped in and said it was just like something underhanded and like, well, our products, blah 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 blah. It's like, who asked your opinion on your products? The video wasn't about their products. The video didn't mention their products. Like, nobody tagged them in the video, but they just decided to jump on and just like say something about their products. I'm like, why? I just feel like,
We always say here, what's it got to do with the price of cheese?
yeah, but yeah, it's just kind of weird.
So would you just say that's just a form of advertising?
100%, of course it is.
I think you can advertise in better ways. But like I was saying, nail techs have been wise to this. And I seen a comment recently on something close to us. And this nail tech had said, oh, I am such and such brand only.
Was it today?
Maybe.
I was going to say this. I was going to try and think, how do we keep it really vague?
And I've been dying to try this, but such and such brand are taking ages.
And I don't want to waste my money on your product.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that last sentence said to me, they want to be gifted a product to try.
So what they want is they want us to waste our money sending them a product that they might not like, instead of them wasting their money.
Don't preface it by saying you're such and such brand till you die.
Yeah.
Stupid. That's not going to work.
Whoa!
No, that's stupid. Sorry, that's part didn't come out. That's stupid. If you're going to be underhanded, I mean, do it properly. Just go in and say, oh, well, I actually use such and such, but I've been dying to try this. There's more likely that maybe somebody's going to pick it up. I'm just looking at this, just thinking, God, you're just like...
you know what it is? It's the whole saying, like, I don't want to waste my money buying your product. That's quite hurtful.
Yeah.
There's no other way to describe it.
That's like that your product is probably rubbish.
Your product's probably rubbish. I don't want to waste my money buying your product that I might not like.
Yeah.
So we have to waste our money sending you the product which you might not like.
Yeah.
How is that fair?
Just wait for your brand.
I just think people really need to think about the way they go about things, because at the end of the day, we are people. It's our livelihood and the livelihood of, the 18 staff members that we've got. And everything that comes in to Nail Order in terms of profit gets generated straight back into creating
new and better products.
Chris and I aren't sat out in a mansion,
Yet.
We're
controlling mansions online just now. I mean, we can't actually afford to move to one. We went to see one that was like 16 bedroom. No, it wasn't. It was like, what, 8 bedrooms or something?
I don't know.
It was up for a ridiculous price.
It was really cheap because it needs a huge amount of work.
Jesus Christ, it was stuck in the 70s. But yeah.
Even though it's really cheap, we still couldn't afford it. But anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, that's kind of got off topic a bit. But yeah, no, I totally, I saw that. I saw that and I was like, that's not easy for me to swallow, because you're saying that you don't think our products are going to be good.
So that kind of like leads me on to the question I was going to get to with that. So would Laura, would someone in the marketing department look at that and go, do you know what, we should actually like swoop in there and steal that customer from such and such a brand? Or do you think because of the way that person's worded it, like for me, I'd be like,
well, as a brand, we are not like that. There are brands that are like that, and I'll be completely transparent. We aren't like that. We don't want every single customer for ourselves, because it's not the world that we live in. It's not, not everybody's going to love your products. It's personal preference. So they're not all for us to have. So we never think about things like, oh, can we steal that person? Don't get me wrong. It's lovely when you see people who are, they do predominantly use one brand and they use a few things from your brand as well. But that is what we're trying to promote in general, both ways. In terms of, you predominantly use Nail Order, try a few other things. You predominantly use another brand, try Nail Order as well. Maybe it's going to fill some gaps. Maybe it's going to work for some clients. But also when somebody sends a message like that and they word it in that way, no way. Not ever going to send you anything. What? Why the heck should we? Who are you? Like, for want of a better question, who are you?
It's like me walking out of Tesco and be like, I am an IPA connoisseur. That's a new IPA. I want to try it for free.
That's exactly what it is. It's the entitlement. And unfortunately, entitlement, we've got so off topic here, but the entitlement behavior has really been bred into society these days mostly through social media.
We were talking about today.
We
in
were talking about it in
different format,
complete
different
something.
setting, just like.
But it is something that is prevalent throughout society right now, and it's really, really not nice. I don't like it. Nobody is entitled to anything. You are not entitled to anything at all, let alone the shirt off somebody else's back.
You're sometimes entitled to your opinion, but sometimes you should keep it to yourself.
Yes, and like Laura says recently, her new favorite saying is, "You don't have to attend every argument that you're invited to."
That's a
I
good
love
one.
that. But yeah, like be kind. Don't be entitled. The world doesn't owe you anything.
The customers I love and adore the most are the ones who come along quietly, purchase something in a small quantity, they trial it, and then they give us constructive and honest feedback. It could be, I love it. It could be, I love it, but it's just not for me because of such and such. So the first thing that Rebecca is doing, she's thinking to herself, how can I improve this? Or how can I make it different? Or how can I make a second generation or a sub?
It might also be, I didn't like it, but I loved your customer service.
Yeah.
And your packaging was beautiful.
Yeah.
That, yeah, will be that's a real shame. Like, and we'll listen to their feedback. Is there anything that we could do to improve that is within the realms of possibility, you know? Because whatever we do, it has to suit the masses.
Yeah.
You know, it can't just suit just one person. Sometimes there are things that we might have something in the works which is going to work for this person, but sometimes we just have to take the L and realize that we're not going to win everybody over. But yeah, competition, it can be healthy, it can be positive, and it does not have to be toxic. And I really wish, like, something that affects us today is obviously not competition from other nail techs or beauty salons. That's something that used to affect us before, but in our current business, it is competition from other brands, and that it can be really, really toxic, and you can feel like you're on the receiving end of it all the time. And it's like, why do we need all these digs? Why do you need people sliding into customers' DMs and saying nasty things? Now, you guys probably don't think that people would actually do this, but they do. We've had customers, 2 individuals around the same time, so these messages must have gone out about the same time. And I think if 2 people contacted us to say this, how many other people received this message from this other brand, but didn't say anything at all? But 2 customers that came to mind, one of them is local, so came into the shop. They'd messaged us to say, this is really, really awkward, but I've received this message from this brand. It's sort of insinuating that your products are whatever. And I feel really, really awkward. Like they're not a customer of the other brand. They've maybe bought a couple of items in the past or whatever. But it was just that brand trying to plant a seed of doubt into people's minds about our products. And that's so unnecessary. Nobody asked you. And who are you to go out and scaremonger and plant these seeds of doubt when you were never asked for your opinion anyway?
Why do you think other people do that?
Because they want everybody for themselves.
Surely it can't be.
It is that. And you can probably hear a little bit of anger in my voice, because that is it. And we try to play fair. And like I say, I think competition can be so healthy. And Chris is going to say something in a minute, which is your perception.
I said it already. Everybody knows
Right,
this.
but your perception is your reality. He says it all the time. And it can be very, very easy with competition to believe that somebody is out to get you, right?
This is one of the funniest things ever.
I am completely aware of that. That I'm also aware that great minds think alike, and there is coincidence, and brands might have the same idea at the same time. Nail techs might too, right?
Thing is, there's things called trends.
There
Nail
is
techs
trends, yeah,
understand that.
Of course.
So, for instance, you might have Jean, you might have Beth. They're both doing similar sets of nails and similar.
And their 2 customers have seen ideas from Kylie Jenner or on Pinterest or whatever. That's
it's funny. One person posted it on Instagram. The next person posted it on Instagram. It's 20 minutes later, and they're like,
"Oh, they did that. They did that as a retaliation, right?" That I completely understand. But there are certain things that cannot be misconstrued as coinkydink or great minds think alike, which is when a brand slides into somebody else's DMs and insinuates that the products that they are currently using might be unsafe. Yeah. Like, where does this come? It's libel. It's slander, because it's based on nothing. It's based on you trying to scaremonger using lies to gain a customer, which is just horrible.
The thing is, even if it's not lies, why are you doing it? Why?
Yeah, again, nobody asked you.
I just don't. I hate to say this. I don't have the time. The only time I have to do things Is it 3 a.m. in the morning?
I
I
know.
wake up and I can't go back to sleep and I buy myself a sweater off Vinted. That was this morning.
See, these people are inviting themselves to an argument that they weren't invited to in the first place.
It's just wild.
But yeah, the perception is reality is so, because I don't want to like create like this idea of like drama or whatever, because people love a bit of gossip. But it does happen, with brands, and you can tell where somebody's got it in their head that we're doing things to piss them off. But again, your perception is your reality, and the reality is that if you're feeling like that about somebody, or somebody's feeling like that about you, you're probably not even a blip on their radar.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not at all, but you have a bee in your bonnet about something. So you're looking at through everything through, a distorted lens.
The opposite of rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, the opposite, a distorted lens.
Green milk
So
bottle
always
glasses.
bear that in mind. If you have a bee in your bonnet about somebody, for whatever reason it is, everything that they do is going to probably piss you off and is going to seem as a direct attack on you, or a direct imitation or something on you. Whereas the fact is, they are probably, honestly, not thinking about you at all.
Yes, 100%.
Let's get on to inspiration and imitation.
Talk to me.
So imitation is literally copying something somebody else has done, whether it's a piece of art, whether it's a set of nails, whether it's a concept or whatever.
I think this is big drama in the nail industry. It's where someone does a really nice
Big
piece
drama.
of nail art or something out there, posts it, and then somebody copies it but doesn't
Give credit. That's the thing. And then you've got inspiration, which is you take something that somebody else has done and you maybe make some changes, maybe you improve
Tweak.
it, you tweak it, you make it different, right? That's fantastic. That's what makes the world go round. That's what makes, businesses grow and tech and science boom.
Tech's a big one. Think about this MacBook that I'm using just now, and then you get, I don't know, another brand, HP or something. They're probably looking at it and go, oh, how can we make ours slimmer? How can we make ours lighter? Phones, iPhones, Samsung phones.
You told me a really interesting fact the other day about Shark Ninja.
Shark Ninja. Jeez, right, Shark Ninja. They are probably, you have a product of theirs in your house, whether you like it or not. You like it to begin with, and then usually it ends up pretty bad.
It's probably a Hoover or an air fryer.
A vacuum or an air fryer.
Sorry.
So I wanted, they have a department dedicated to trolling through their competition's complaints. So on their website or on review sites, to find out where customers don't like things. And what they do is they go solve that problem. So say, for instance, Dyson. We have a Dyson and we have a Shark. So we can use both of these as a comparison, and we're not going to get sued. Don't sue me, bro. They'll go through Dyson's customer reviews and see the problem. And it could be, for instance, hair wrap, for example.
Probably was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, I constantly get my hair wrapped around this sort of thing. So Shark Ninja are like, how can we fix this? That's the thing. We'll make a good vacuum cleaner, but we'll add this in, and that's the USP.
That is so clever. It's a little dirty. I mean, it's not really dirty. It's not. I don't know. It's
you
clever.
Spend your life trying to make the nail industry a better place, but you don't trail through other people's.
No, but what I do trawl through is forums and social media, and I read comments, and I will read those. I guess it's kind of the same thing. But it's more in a generalized way rather than going to people's websites and reading their reviews. Because let's be honest, most brands, I'm not going to go onto a brand's website and do that, because like most brands aren't going to allow negative reviews to go up on their website.
Why?
Because they want people to buy their products.
So we do.
Yeah, but
Okay.
maybe we're too honest for ourselves. But the best thing to do is social media, because especially TikTok, TikTok is brutal. So if I come across a nail, whatever it is, somebody using a new product or somebody using a product, I will go through all of the comments, even if it's not to do with nail order, and I'll just see what people are saying, because that is going to give me the inspiration to improve our products. So for instance, with the new Formula Angel, that I used that type of thing. So people, I would always notice, not just in relation to our products, people always referred to HEMA-free builder gels in the industry as being too thin. Always. Now, the viscosity isn't dictated by the HEMA content. They're two completely separate things. So when we were making the tweaks to the Angel formula, I was like, well, we'll make it a little bit thicker and see if that's what people, if they like that. God, everybody absolutely loves it. But yeah, so I guess I do the same thing, but just on a more broad term.
The thing is, you're trying to make our products better versus looking at products and how can we develop them to beat our competition. That makes sense. That's kind
Yeah.
of what Sharp Ninja are doing, you know.
Yeah.
So they're in it to find the problems and solve them.
And it's like we talked about earlier, right? So a client comes into you and they have a picture of a set of nails that some other nail tech's done, whether it's in your local area, whether it's somebody on Instagram, whatever it is. My first instinct would be like to try and put my own little spin on it, whether it's changing a color or something like that. But you're going to have a nail tech, a customer who goes, no, that's what I want. And you're going to have to do it, which is absolutely fine. So if you choose to post that on social media, that is fine. But you must credit the original creator of that work. That is absolutely fine. No one is going to give you any hate. If you've created a beautiful set of nails based on somebody else's work, nobody's going to give you hate as long as you credit the initial creator.
It's funny, when I started getting tattoos from like a really good artist to cover up some of the old ones I had, I would troll through his Instagram and be like, I love that, I love that, I love that. My tattoos are all travel themed. So anytime I'd see something travel themed, I'd be like, that's what I want, that's what I want. He'd be like, I can't give you that, bro, because that's somebody else's tattoo. I'll give you a new adaptation of that. And that's one of the best things he's ever said to me.
I've got a really interesting fact about tattoos. Tattoos in terms of on actors and actresses. Do you know that they have to cover their tattoos because they don't own the rights to the artwork?
Yeah.
So if you see an actor with like tattoos on them, they'll have been put on by the makeup team. Yeah. But more often than not, the artist doesn't release the tattoo artist doesn't release the rights to the artwork of the tattoo, so they can't be put on film.
Do you know someone I've seen recently? Ariana Grande on Hot Ones. I didn't realize she had like tattoos all over her hands and
Yes,
stuff.
because they've been covered up.
They've been covered up. And I remember watching the preview for Wicked when I was in America at the Super Bowl. You were back here. I was on the halftime show.
How do they cover them all up?
So yeah, it's just it's a concealer.
Oh, it must be unbelievable.
Because I was like, wow, she's got all these tattoos, but apparently they were, yeah.
So yeah, incredibly important to give credit where credit's due. We always try and do that as well, even if we've had an idea. Like just off the top of my head, I've mentioned Jamie from Lash Space on our TikTok, and he's like something that he's done on his TikTok gave me an idea for a TikTok for us. Obviously his is like lash related, ours is nail business related.
But you preface it by
I preface it by saying, I got this idea, I saw such and such doing this and I thought it was a great idea, so I wanted to give it a go, but nail order style. That's fine. Like I have so much more respect for people who do that. But yeah, again, absolutely okay. Like if you see something that somebody else is doing and you really like it and you want to put your own spin on it, but you're like, oh God, I don't want to seem like I'm copying. Just be blatant about it. Be like, I saw such and such doing this. I thought it was a great idea, so I thought I would do my version.
Licenti is another one. They were doing something and Laura had asked me, she'd said, I seen Licenti do this.
No, it was me that said it.
Oh, of course it was you.
Licenti was another one, yes.
And
yeah, I was like, I thought that we could do the same thing. I think it was timing doing picking.
Oh, that's what it was. Sorry, that's what it was.
And I'd seen them do one on their TikTok, and I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. But again, I prefaced it by saying I saw Licenti do this.
Technically, Licenti are competition because they do gel products.
But
so what?
So what?
They're nice people.
Exactly.
They're good products.
So yeah, I think there's a few people out there that need to hear that it's okay to give credit where credit's due. Yeah. Okay, that was a little sneaky snide comment.
But this podcast is only the opinion of Chris and Becky, not that of Nail Order.
Only our opinion.
And here's the thing: as a creator, you are a creator. It must be quite nice to see someone be like, "I seen Rebecca do this."
Oh my God, I would be so flattered. Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, I just think always give credit where credit's due. Especially like publicly. So if you are doing something and you think, okay, it's a little, I've seen somebody else do it. It did inspire me. Just preface it with that.
Yeah.
That's absolutely okay. And nobody is ever, well, they certainly shouldn't be going to be on your case because you gave them credit.
Yeah, because you gave them credit.
I say that.
The thing is, right, okay, so say for instance, you copied someone's TikTok, not word for word. I know you can actually do word for word with TikTok, but imagine you copied their idea for it and you gave them credit. Mm-hmm. Does that person then have a right to come out and be like, this person copied me? What are they all about? What are they doing?
Well, I think if you've given somebody credit, then like absolutely not. But if you don't give somebody credit, then it does kind of give somebody the right to be like, if it was something like a very, very, very unique, specific thing, which is, and it's like they post it one day and then like 3 days later you post the exact same thing. Like, yeah, I mean, you could put yourself under fire for that.
But TikTok is all about that, isn't it? Like,
No, but it's about making it your version.
but I always remember, right? There was a girl who used to work for us, and she did this. She did this video. She posted it on social media. I was like, "What the heck is this?" She was dancing beside a car. Do you remember this? It was the Drake song, and she's like, "Yeah, everybody's doing it." And because I had went on and watched it on like Instagram or something, the algorithm showed me everybody else doing it.
Is this the thing when everybody was out their car walking beside it?
Yeah,
or whatever it
walking
was?
beside, that's exactly it. Yeah, and I was thinking, so everyone's just copying each other, and that's really what TikTok was about. It was about people doing a funny dance, and then
I guess
no,
it's
it wasn't-
kind
do
of,
you know what it was? It wasn't the TikTok. It was Musical.ly before TikTok.
it's different when it's generic, but when it's industry focused, that's
Right.
kind of where, when it starts to niche down, do you know what I mean? So if you're a nail tech and another, you copy another nail tech's like TikTok in terms of not the sound, right? But the exact thing they're doing. So imagine their TikTok, they are sat at a nail desk with their client doing this exact skit about this exact thing, maybe about, I don't know, a client always choosing the same color. And then you do the exact same one, which points to the exact same thing. Well, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? It's the same for brands as well. But yeah, just always give credit where credit's due. If you've been inspired by somebody else, and it's kind of obvious that you have, simply give credit.
Okay, so let's flip it around. Let's say you're a market leader. Let's say you're a nail tech, and you are boshing out these amazing sets, and all you see is just people copying you.
Well, they do say, like you said earlier, it's the most sincere form of flattery. So you do have to.
Be gracious.
Why waste your time being angry about it? Be flattered. And I know that's hard. I too get irritated with certain things, and I'm like, no. But to be fair, these days we pretty much just laugh. We'll go, you aren't gonna believe this now.
The thing is, like, people see it. But let's talk about friends real quick. So we did our Black Friday deals last week, and we mentioned some of our friends within the industry. I think having friends within the industry is a great thing.
Oh my God, it's fantastic. And I would so recommend it too. Again, yes, they might be your competition. You might sell some of the same items, but also they can be just such a great support. It's the same in terms of being a nail tech as well. You want to have nail tech friends that you can socialize with, that you can, you know, it's that shoulder to cry on when you've had a really tough day or whatever it is.
Yeah, for us, it's like when sales go, you're like, oh God. And like, for instance, you'll message Lucy.
Yeah, so Lucy.
Oh, I just need to apologise to everyone. See them in the comments. We're like, oh, Lucy Pastorelli's in the podcast.
Lucy.
Sorry to disappoint you guys. It was just LP, like our LP.
Our LP.
But we will get Lucy on the podcast. Again, we just don't want to do the interview type format because...
That's Shan's. That's Shan's, yeah.
Shan, Nail Industry, Clawgasmic Nail Tech Talks. Go listen to that podcast. It's much better than ours anyway. Tons of like friends within the nail industry. And I think that is a great thing to have, that little community, that little bubble. We're lucky to have these people. I would say that we probably don't spend enough time with them. You and I, a couple of years ago, said that we were going to be more social. We're going to go to more events, more network and stuff like that. And I hate having to speak to people. But we've got some pretty good friends, you know? And it is good for us to be able to turn around, like, to say Lucy and be like, how are your sales today? Bear in mind, Lucy doesn't sell the same products as us, but we're still in the same industry.
Yeah.
You know, we recommend her.
So it tends to follow. So if we're having a really crappy day, she'll be having a crappy day more often than not.
There's nothing worse when she's having a great day and we're having a terrible day. And she rubs it, and like, Lucy won't mind me saying this, but she rubs it right in your face. She's like, no, I'm having the best day.
Yeah, she actually does say that. She actually does. But yeah, no, it's really nice to have friends. Again, they are competition. I mean, look at like Niba. They are like skincare, cuticle oils predominantly. We started as cuticle oil business. But friends, there's no need. We've obviously done a collaboration with them.
Ashley's just a great girl.
Yeah,
our
she is.
partner's amazing as well.
So no need to, you know.
But I remember actually listening to Lucy's podcast before we were on Shan's podcast, and Lucy was saying like there is enough to go around.
There is.
You don't. I mean, competition is good, but you can also be allies within the same or similar sectors. You know, there is enough people. There's enough nail techs in the UK and around the world. You don't have to have every single one. You know, you just have to cater to ones that need you specifically.
Exactly.
You're not going to be able to cater to everyone. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant. If you only serve steak and the vegans come in, so I don't mean to be like the vegans, but the vegans come in, you're not going to be able to cater to them. Or you're going to be able to give them a subpar meal. But there's a vegan taco cart around the corner. and it's Michelin star, let them go there. Let them do it. They'll have the best time. Does that make sense? Is that a good analogy? Yeah, we're actually talking about a Michelin star taco cart last night.
You've really gone off topic now, haven't you?
We need to go to Mexico City. Tacos.
So yeah, your competition can also be your friends.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a good one to kind of end on.
Yeah.
We've brought it back up, slightly more positive.
Yeah, they can be your friends. Even if they're selling the same thing, even if they're doing the same services as you.
Yeah. Think about it. You've got like Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Puma, Lululemon,
Pepsi, Coca-Cola.
Pepsi, Coca-Cola, heroin, cocaine. They're all, they're all there. They're all, sometimes you have good ones, sometimes you have bad ones. It's, you have ups, you have downs. It's just the way the world works, If I can give anyone any sort of advice, stay in your lane, focus on yourself, try and make yourself a better person. Read more, run more.
Spend no time trying to destroy somebody else.
Oh, God.
Because that will eat you alive before it will eat them. That's not going to eat them. It's not going to eat them alive, but it will eat you alive. And it will take your business.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, if you put all your energy into somebody else, that's what you're doing. You are dedicating your energy that you could be using for your business, regardless of what that is, and you're giving it to somebody else.
Is that whole thing of living
rent-free? I'm not joking. You took that. I was about to say that. Like, imagine just living rent-free in somebody else's head.
Wild. No time for that.
Yeah. Unreal.
All right. So I feel much better. Do you feel much better?
It was just a little therapy session, was it?
It was. This podcast might never even see the light of day.
I know. Now I'm worried that people are thinking that we're really, really aggy people, but we're not.
It's just so. Do you know what? I'll just be honest with you guys. There's just so much ag right now, and I don't know why. I think it's people are just a bit stroppy right now, and I think it's sometimes when things go a little bit quieter, just in general. We've not had it quiet because we've been releasing new products.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't,
it gives you more time to think about other things, doesn't it?
It does. Like for instance, we spoke about this a few podcasts ago. If you're having, say, a quiet October, a quiet November, you look at other people and they're still posting tons and stuff on Instagram. You think they're busy. But they might just have a back catalogue of pictures.
Your perception is your reality.
This is it.
If it's what you think is happening, then to you, it's what is happening.
Yeah, but to them, they're probably in the exact same shit.
Yeah.
Sitting there thinking, oh God, can I actually post these nails? I've done them in the middle of the summer.
Yeah, July, 4th of July nails.
Yeah, 4th of July nails. Can I actually post them in Halloween, stuff like that. So yeah, just remember, like there's quite often people...
You only know about somebody else what you think you know.
Yeah, and regardless of what other people tell you.
Exactly. You don't know the truth. So concentrate on yourself and use your energy for good to improve yourself rather than thinking about somebody else and thinking about things that might not even be true.
Yeah, it's a very good one. And if you do need help, today's sponsor is BetterHelp. No, it's not. It's not. It seems to be everywhere just now. Maybe go download that app if you need it.
It really is.
So, honey, darling, I didn't say the B word at all
Thank God.
Whole podcast.
Thank God.
Because they do not want to be reported to the police or anything like that.
What police? The PDA police? PDA? Yes, the PDA police.
What's that?
Public displays of affection.
Crikey.
The PDA police.
All right, okay, darling. Do you want to get us out here?
If you enjoyed today's episode, please give us a thumbs up. Please let us know in the comments below what you would like us to cover on the next episode. And please be sure to subscribe to be notified when we release our next episode. Oh yeah, go with it.
This is still my
Wait,
favourite.
is this the original one? Okay.
Tune in here alone Sunday, all the ticket and spill.
Just need to rewrite these lyrics.
Talking, keeping it real.
Yeah,
Y'all
I like it. It's enjoyable.
It's a good trap. Just need to rewrite it.
Stay sharp, stay tuned, man. You know it's the deal.
See you guys.